Welcome to Sound. What is the name of this studio? Welcome to Stone Age Sound.
Stone Age Sound.
Yeah, welcome to Stone Age Sound.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
It's good to be here.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having you. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. As you can tell, I've done this a lot before.
You're all good, dude. Me too. Interviews all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Great.
Yeah.
How many other interviews have you been on? Is this?
One and a half.
One and a half.
Does my mom count?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. That's my favorite, the supportive mother.
Yeah. How
of
are you?
artists.
Have you done your laundry?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Checking on you, brush your teeth, go to sleep in a normal hour.
Exactly.
Tell her, no, I'm not going to sleep at 5 a.m. No, that's not happening here.
No, I have a room with windows. Hey guys, my name is Henry Mansfield. I'm going to play for you my song Jury Duty. It's one of 2 new singles coming out June 5th. Loaded down with compromise and purple with potential in our breath. We're tired stories and whispers late at night into the phone. With bruises on our ribs and egos from parking fines and shoulders on the street. Intentions tangle like 2 teens trying hard to be alone. Let's list the reasons why we're too afraid to sleep in the dark. The sound of fridges and the sting of the past tense. Show me the games you play to keep away the worst of your doubt. I promise I will never lie again. Oh, there is beauty in our bodies, more than fumbling locks and keys. Hold my hand and say it with me. I am not my insecurity. There's one thing keeping your clothes on, and it's not me. Let's break the floor beneath our beds and dig for something we lost. I don't remember what it's called, but I miss it. Another evening dialing customer support to just talk. I promise this is not the end of us. Let's make my noisy upstairs neighbors into cloud shapes. Let's see if everything is better after midnight comes. Please take us home, please take us home, please take us home, please take us home. So wordless linger in the doorway. You won't regret your choices till she leaves. The distant gavel. You wanna go, and yet you still remain. Let's list decisions that we wish we didn't have to survive. I'll show you all the wilted photos they come with. Show me the usernames we made when we were comedy queens. They'll make us more than what's been done to us. Let's list the reasons why we're too afraid to sleep in the dark. The sound of fridges pages and the sting of the past tense. Show me the games you play to keep away the worst fear down. I promise I will never lie again. No, I will never lie again.
This song is called "Blinking in My Bedroom," and it is brand spanking new. It was finished probably about a month ago, back in April, and it's about sort of just losing touch with certain parts of yourself as you get older and trying to reconcile that.
Shook me awake and told me everything, but I forgot by the morning. So now I drive with the windows down. I pull a kite through the center of town. I keep trying, but I can't trust my memories, only things that I've been through. And I mix up all I believe with all I hope is true. So if you need me, I'll be out on my hometown streets looking for the breeze. Are you like me? Spend every hour in search of a story. Some home, some diet to maybe restore me. I was every prairie highway, now I'm waiting in the car. Now I'm blinking in my bedroom. Can you see from where you are? There are moments we lose, I mean the tiny ones, the parlay after the punch-up. I like to think they're a kind of bruise, and to forget isn't something we choose. Little buttons made of black and blue we could use as rehearsal cues. Give a name to the things that we've been through, till the day they paddle out from shore and they slip down beneath the skin, never to be seen or heard again. I'm sorry, but I don't know where to begin. Spend every hour in search of a story. Some home, some diet to maybe restore me. There was structure in the shadows, I was bright and fully charged. Now I'm blinking in my bedroom. Can you see from where you are? What we looked like when all our pieces fit right. But maybe could we be happy how we are, even if that's just as hard? I spend every hour in search of a story. Some home, some diet to maybe restore me. was every prairie highway. Now I'm waiting in the car. Now I'm blinking in my bedroom. Can you see from where you are? 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 Wind shook me awake, and for a moment I got up and ran to the driveway. I held my breath and I watched the trees as they bent and they pointed at me.
Great, great.
Exactly.
Those are some great songs that you played.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. You have like kind of like musical, like a Broadway kind of style to your music.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah, it's never something I've intentionally pursued in music, but I think just by virtue of being a theatrical piano player, it kind of comes out in that sense.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
Yeah.
So your background in music is in theater?
My musical background, I actually just got started. My parents both play music super casually.
Okay.
And
Right.
then so we had a piano in the house, and I had those, awful piano lessons when I was very, very young. Hated them, didn't
Right.
touch it for a while. And then I think around like 12, 13 years old, I was just like, hey, I like the Beatles. Let's sit down at this piano and like plunk out
nice.
Let It Be. And then
Oh, for sure.
from there, it just sort of spiraled into being self-taught, and I've always sort of leaned more towards like the rock songwriter type thing. And I love theater, adore theater, but it didn't necessarily start or kind of mature there, if that makes sense.
Right. I would say the Beatles are great. They have a great, amazing catalog. Would you say that there is one Beatles song in particular that inspired you?
Oh, well, the song I learned was Let It Be. Let It
Okay.
Be always got me. And this is I love the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, classic album, and I poked
one.
around with that for a while. But the song that I really just got fascinated by chord changes on was Yesterday. I think that song's just a classic, and it's the one
Yeah,
everyone,
it's great.
but it's a beautiful, beautiful song. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So you've been playing piano since you were about 12, 13.
Yep.
So you have about how many years of experience?
It'll be 10 years.
10
20,
years.
turns 22.
Ooh.
What day is it? It's the 20th?
You're still a young lad.
I'm
huh?
a young lad.
You're a
I
young
turned
lad.
22 20 days ago.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've been playing music. That's actually about how long that I've been playing music for too. Is
Awesome.
yeah, somewhere in the 8, 9, 10 year range.
Cool.
That's great. You have an album coming out?
I do. I have a double single coming out. It's I saw a bunch of my favorite bands doing this, like the Hold Steady and Brooklyn Social Scene. They were doing this. They sort of just throw out 2 songs out there on the internet and then play a couple like local residency shows across the U.S. and Canada, and then release 2 more songs and do the same thing. And I don't know if it's the right release,
The strategy?
strategy necessarily, but I
Okay.
figured I'd give it a shot, see if it worked for me, and just I think it's definitely an era for singles, certainly with the internet.
I
So,
do. Yeah, I like that as your approach to it.
Thank you.
There's really nothing wrong to that strategy because you're constantly pushing out at least a little bit every so often. What do you think the downside is to not doing something longer, like a big 12-song album?
I think creatively it's always a bit of a letdown. Like
Do you?
I definitely I put out an album back in 2018 that was like it was my first album. It was all 12 tracks, and
Right.
I love the narrative and just thought you can put into an album like that and sort of experiment with, and that's really fun. And beyond that, there's definitely a lack of cohesion. I think some people respond. People who are really deep into music respond well to albums. It's like, they released this and this year, and then this and this year, and looking at a discography as just kind of scattered singles is a bit disconcerting. I think for people just getting into a new artist, but. As far as getting that exposure and getting that music in front of people, I think it's pretty unparalleled because an album to new listeners can be kind of like, that's a lot of music.
A lot
Yeah.
of music. That's
But-
right.
Yeah. But if just 2 tracks, listen, make up your mind. I think it's pretty simple. And I'm
Figure out
excited
if
to
you
try it
do
out.
or don't like me. Should I
Exactly.
change something about me?
It's like speed dating.
Just shave this a little bit.
trim this down.
Just
do
on the sides.
Yeah, get the Wolverine thing going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Yeah. That's great. So you have singles coming up, an album already released. Do you have any plans for musical output during this quarantine time?
Well, I already put out this crowdsourced lyric video that I was working on,
Right.
called That One Dream, which was, I asked a bunch of people on Facebook just to comment some lyrics
Comment some
below,
lyrics, great.
and then threw it into a thing, which is super cool. Beyond that, I've been plucking around with some new songs. I've been working on, I've definitely been working on something. Oh, I've been working a lot on one of the singles, Young Lovely, is getting a stop motion music video because I needed some way to occupy my time. So I have this, my iPhone taped to a desk with a bunch of paper beneath it, and it's, I think it's at 3,000 photographs.
Oh my God.
It's right now.
So what program are you using to put all that together?
There's a $10 program on the App Store that was called Stop Motion Studio.
Okay.
And it's
perfect.
I was considering using Premiere or something like that, but it didn't quite have the tool set. And this is super simple. You just drop everything in. It labels each frame individually for you, and you can scrub through them, which I found super helpful.
Very easy.
And then, just bounce that out, and then muddle with it a bit in iMovie to link it up with the audio, and then that's that. Nice and simple.
Nice and simple, yeah. Link up the audio, you're using a cut?
I wish. No, I have this one very specific cue. There's a photo of Safeco Field that twitches just slightly, and that's when the song starts. So I have to look for that every time. So
That's pretty funny.
yeah, it's a good time.
What are your goals as a musician? You talked a little bit about your strategy, releasing a few singles, and then trying to play shows, and then release more singles and play more shows. Does that lead into anything? Where does that get you?
My main goal right now is sort of building an audience. I considered coming out. I moved to LA just like a year ago or less from Seattle because I had a lot of friends and musicians doing stuff down here. And I was considering sort of playing around with the sync licensing world or trying to do some more studio-based stuff and session work, and some of which I've still done, but the main thing I'd love to do is just who wouldn't want to play their songs to an audience if they could, right?
Of course.
So just trying to build that audience as well as I can, and that comes with playing shows, releasing music, and hopefully having this as a home base just to go on the road when I can and do that. So.
Do you feel like there's any effective marketing strategy alternative to playing shows? Because right now it's impossible to play shows, right?
Yeah.
People are doing, I see a lot of Zoom and Skype shows or whatever, Facebook Live shows. You looked into any of that?
I have. It really is the question right now, because I think I know a lot of musicians. I mean, we've talked about it, and I've just heard a lot of friends be like,
Right.
hey, without shows, it's kind of this weird, like, how do I do this? I've done a couple Instagram and Facebook Live things. They're fun. They lose. It's hard to maintain engagement in a similar way, because it's just not, when you're looking at someone playing on a screen, it's just nowhere near as dynamic as being in the same room as someone.
Right.
I've looked into Twitch streaming a bit. I've heard some
Twitch
people are
streaming?
doing some Twitch, Zoom and Skype and all that stuff. But no, promotion shows seem, until, like, I've heard some stuff about the car shows, the people doing the shortwave radio and sitting in the car and broadcasting that, which I thought was fun, but go ahead.
I haven't heard anything about that shortwave radio. Yeah, can you go into that?
Well,
a little bit?
shortwave may have been the wrong nomenclature, but they have they plug the PA into a sort of short range like FM transmitter with a certain frequency, and then have cars pull up and just tune to that frequency.
That's
which is
actually
kinda fun.
really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds super sweet.
I think it's great. It's
Like a drive-in.
basically drive-in theater.
Drive-in
for
theater.
music. Yeah.
Whoa.
Which I think is super cool and exciting. But I don't. It loses some of the. Well, first of all, the logistics of doing that are tricky because of permitting or what have you, and it does lose a bit. I think it's a great option for anyone who has the resources to pull it off. But no, promotion in a time without person-to-person and peer-to-peer interaction is really tough. I don't think there's any correct or wholly satisfying answer to make it work. I think people have found some incredible substitutes and been really creative, but I do think music at a certain point is designed to be a live experience.
Yeah, for sure. So just missing out on that human-to-human interaction, which is what we're having here right now, and I love it.
It's great.
Unfortunately, Now is not the time for shows. Fingers crossed that shows do happen soon. Do you have any concern about venues shutting down? Because I hear a lot about a lot of local venues not being able to make it through this time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a concern when you get back? Like every musician's gonna want to play when quarantine's over, right?
Yeah.
And some venues are shutting down, so there's gonna be less places to play. Are you gonna be able to book a show? Like, what are your plans for that?
I mean, you're absolutely right. It's going to be a gigantic rush as soon as this is all over. I mean, everyone's going to be fighting for the same space. As far as venues closing, I'm not intimately familiar with a lot of venues down in LA yet, and the ones that I do know seem to be doing all right. You know, like the big names, Hotel Cafe, you know, that sort of stuff. They seem to be doing just fine. As far as stuff in Seattle back home, none of the venues that I really consider kind of a cornerstone of the community there have fallen apart yet. But
Okay.
A few have come close. I mean, there's a lot of fundraisers going on, and that is scary to me because I think everyone's kind of okay with the idea of things closing temporarily, but then it became clear that a lot of businesses would just have to shut down permanently, and it's certainly troubling because when those go away, they don't really come back. You know, especially music venues. So I don't know. Like I said, nothing in Seattle's really closed down that's scary yet, but it's getting to the point where if it keeps happening, it just might. And without music venues, without place to do live music, I mean, there'd be no live music to come back to. So
It's true. I feel like as musicians, we do kind of need to think about more ways to kind of engage an audience other than live music because, you know, you see with stuff like Spotify coming up in recent years. I mean, Pandora was like one of the first ones. Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and all that coming up real big. There are a lot of musicians who are making their quota on streaming, in addition to maybe like merch sales or whatever. So, I mean, do you agree that it's kind of crucial that we do come up with alternatives to live music as well?
I think pivoting would be really important. I don't think I don't think we'll find a satisfactory permanent replacement necessarily, but as far as finding new dynamic ways to communicate with your audience and create an experience, because I really think the whole thing's about the experience in the end. And in school, in college, I took a course on virtual reality and VR. We got to play around with headsets and stuff. And there are a couple companies playing around with these cool like live audio shows where you're in the room and the band has avatars on stage and everyone's, which is a great idea as far as synthesizing that experience. There's a lot of trouble in VR with headset adoption. You know, not everyone just has an Oculus Rift lying on the table and slap on and watch a show, right?
Plus, like the headphones that you gotta put on, like not everyone's got, I don't know, whatever kind of headphones, Bayer Dynamic,
whatever the fancy $3,000 headphones you'll probably need. It's really that's kind of tough. So thinking about ways of finding the common denominator of technology, really, I think we're in an unprecedented time to have all these new emerging technologies. Like last week, I put together an Instagram filter for the band. You know what I mean? And you can upload that, and then it's like, what Henry Mansfield song are you? And it'll tell you.
Yeah,
you know? So
that's funny.
And it's fun. It's very small scale, but just using and leveraging new technologies to promote interaction, I think would be really important. And those technologies are becoming much more available to people. And I'm sure someone's going to become very wealthy in the next 5-10 years, finding a great substitute for all this stuff.
Finding a great substitute. Do you think you could be like a TikTok star? Do you feel like you could make? do you feel like you should be making songs specifically for TikTok's like format of, I don't know how long their videos are, 15 seconds,
something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't.
Do you think that's the future? Is like a bit of music, just 15 seconds of audio plays for you, and that's the whole song?
It might be. I mean, viral content takes that shape, right?
Viral content, yeah.
My girlfriend is currently going through a TikTok phase, and so I'm not on it myself, but I get all those.
Do you do the Renegade?
Say again?
Yeah, so do you do the Renegade? Does she do the Renegade dance?
What's the Renegade? I don't know. I'm familiar.
It's just one of the songs. It's already passed and done. So
it had its moment for 10 seconds.
Yeah,
yesterday,
exactly.
And now gotcha. No, I I don't think I think virally enough to get that. And I totally, I think there's some people who can make an entire business out of creating content for those, platforms. And I think that's an incredible and totally legitimate way of branding and making money. I don't think I'm comedically nor virally qualified for TikTok, but I certainly do enjoy a good Vine ripoff every now and then. So.
Yeah. That's great. That's wonderful. We did kind of digress away from you and your music. Is there anything that you want to say about your music? Is there anything that you would say? Here, let me actually give you like a good question. Is there anything you would say that sets your music apart from everybody else, Ben Gibbard included?
That is the question. I think. Personally, the reason I personally resonate with my music and why I choose to write it is I do think there's an emphasis on trying to present authentically as much as possible, and I think what is currently selling and topping the charts right now, why totally enjoyable music isn't necessarily emphasizing tenets of authenticity in any sense, in my opinion. And I do see a lot of artists just up and coming, kind of at the small level, who are really interested in creating this sort of authentic interaction with their fans and with the people around them. And it's, of course, bands have done it previously in history, but I do think that's sort of going to be the next thing, is that highly connective experience that people want when going to shows. And I spend a lot of time not just writing the songs and writing the lyrics and all that, but coming up with ways to involve the audience and participation in a song, whether it be stuff like the Facebook song, or it's like we have this song called Ocean that's on the first EP that I put out way back, where we split the crowd in half and we select two people from either side, and there's like a dance-off kind of thing as far as people leading a dance. And then we have these children's toys called boom whackers. And it's just these tubes you whack on something that makes a pitch, right? Yep. And we're working on sort of composing a song where we can just pass those to the audience and be like, hit this on time, and base the song around that. So
that's pretty fun.
Just that joy of creating together, and it just not being about the person on stage performing, but it's like we're all here doing this. Not that I'm the only person doing that in the world, but I do think that is what's going to set not only my music, but sort of the next generation of music.
Right. Yeah. Creatively engaging the audience is crucial, and I think, I don't want to bring this back over to our anti-human contacts thing, but I feel like you have some great ideas for things that don't even have to be person to person. Like if you just say like, this is my dance off, this is my dance move, show me your best dance move, and everybody shares it on Instagram. That could be the next viral thing, is like somebody doing like the funky chicken,
or something.
Something weird.
Absolutely. No, and I love, I do certainly think there's so much joy in the fact that like almost anything can go viral nowadays. Like sometimes people just upload a video of them eating and it goes somewhere, right? And I think that's fantastic. I have to sort of train my brain to think that way, but I think it's certainly so. Just the instant gratification content and reconciling that with sort of that joy and connectivity is something I'm actually interested in exploring at some point. So,
okay,
it's awesome.
Good. I just have one more kind of just general question for you. Is to kind of like wrap all this up. Is there anything that you would advise to your fellow musicians right now?
Just stay creative. Whether it's a lot of people aren't finding the spark to write right now or to create or what have you. And I think this is a great time to explore what creativity means beyond just playing your instrument. I never thought I would be spending the last 2 weeks and probably the next week making a stop motion video for one of my songs, but just it's not like stop motion is something that I am really personally drawn to or make a habit out of doing, but just hey, I've never done that. I've got the time, and just being able to keep your brain occupied on kind of new pursuits. And I don't know whether it's learning how to draw Pokemon or whether it's like learning how to code or anywhere, but just something to keep those creative juices flowing. I think one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from a musician was just You don't want to go. If you want it to be your job, it requires just a little bit of work every day. Like even if you don't feel like writing a song or doing anything, just go to the piano, the guitar, what have you, and spend 30 minutes to an hour trying to write a song. Maybe it's shit. Maybe you throw it out, never touch it again. But just as far as flexing those muscles, and that's all I'd say. I think it's really easy for all this to atrophy as you're just sitting not writing anything. So
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Just keep on practicing, keep on working those muscles, and even if you don't come up with something good today, something during this time period will come out of you, and it will be something that you'll want to pump out.
absolutely, yeah.
That's great. That's beautiful.
Listen,
Thank you for coming once again.
Michael, thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Your voice is beautiful, and I hope that you never stop flexing those muscles.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bam!
Killer. Woo! Little snap there at the end. I love it.
Has anyone ever told you sound like that guy from the Postal Service?
Oh, Ben Gibbard?
Ben Gibbard.
I've heard that once or twice.
Yeah?
Yeah. But I appreciate it. I consider it a compliment. So.
Okay.
School back east, and I had some musician pals, and we ended up performing Transatlanticism front to back just for the hell of it. And
Is that the one with the crow on it?
yeah, the one with the crow and the
Yeah.
red string. Yeah, which is I loved that album before we played it, and then we learned it and we played it, and now I don't like that album anymore. And I think it's just circle of life.